The Air Force has laid out 3 potential plans for replacing the B-52's engines, a key step for keeping its oldest bomber in service into the 2050s.
Now he's flying right overhead.
For almost 2 decades, the Air Force has studied whether and how to replace the B-52's Pratt & Whitney TF-33, PW-103 engines, 8 of which have powered each Stratofortress since the 1960s. Now the clock is counting down for the Air Force to make a decision, as age, obsolescence and diminishing sources for spare parts could make current engines unsustainable as early as 2030, according to slides presented in a deck. 12 Industry Day. The service appears to have settled on broad requirements for the engines. First, it wants new, not refurbished, systems and intends to maintain an 8-engine configuration on each B-52, knocking out competitors who have floated a 4-engine solution. The engines must be able to be integrated without having to significantly rework the B-52's wings, although the service expects some design changes to structures such as struts and nacelles may be necessary. Additionally, the service wants improved reliability and at least 20% greater fuel efficiency over the current TF-33, while maintaining its takeoff performance in combat sealing. It also is interested in a new power architecture that could support an increased number of power generators, as well as new digital engine control wiring, the document stated. While the service has not solidified whether it will move on to a program of record, it has requested initial seed money in the 2018 budget and has done market research that could inform a final acquisition strategy. The service is considering 3 ways of procuring the engines. First, it could contract with the engine integrator, and have that company choose the engine. Another option is for the Air Force to award contracts to the engine integrator and engine manufacturer in parallel. It could also move forward with a more complicated 2-step plan, where the government would award a contract to an engine integrator and require the engine integrator to work together with potential engine providers on what the service calls an engine integration approach. Eventually, engine manufacturers would submit proposals based on the work, and the government would down select to a single vendor. After choosing an engine manufacturer and integrator, the Air Force could begin outfitting 2 B-52 test aircraft with engines as early as fiscal year 2022, according to a notional schedule. From there, it would acquire 74 more engine sets from FY 2026 to 2034, enough to equip the entire inventory of 76 B-52s. Air Force Global Strike Command believes it will need to continue flying the Stratofortress as late as the 2050s, and the platform will be a key test bed for the service's long-range standoff weapon, a new air-launched cruise missile that can be outfitted with either a nuclear or conventional warhead.
Table test, self test. Good.
Because the Air Force's budget continues to be constricted, the service had considered using an alternative funding strategy, such as leasing, to procure newer engines for the B-52. The service did not discuss potential paths forward during the industry day, but in a Deck 2 interview with Defense News, Lieutenant General Arnold Bunch, the service's top uniformed acquisition official, said the service is still considering its options. We're going to look at is there some kind of a lease that we can do? Do we want to continue to just buy? What are all those strategies we want to do, and what's the most economical way and most effective way to modernize to get the mission done? He said. Historically speaking, the Air Force has little experience using alternative funding agreements to procure aircraft engines, he added. If we go down this path, it would be a new approach. It would be different. Right? Double quotation mark.
Stop. You go reverse. Creep.
In the missile as follows. Caution, the engine must be supported with the foam pad until missile boat tail installation to prevent damage to components. Foam pad installed?
Yes. Done. We need tools for this. Because somebody super tightened this. And probably the Allen wrench.
The industry day was attended by B-52 prime contractor Boeing, who will likely be vying for the systems integrator position. Also in attendance were the three engine primes most likely to compete for the contract, Pratt & Whitney, Rolls-Royce and GE Aviation, and a number of other industry participants, including Northrop Grumman, United Technologies Corporation, and Safran USA, which makes turbofan engines and engine components. Pratt & Whitney has historically promoted an overhaul of its TF-34 as a lower-cost alternative to new engines. However, the company could put forward a new engine if the service makes that a requirement, Matthew Brumberg, Pratt & Whitney's military engines business, told Defense News in September. Meanwhile, Rolls-Royce has already tapped its BR-725, a variant of the F-130 that powers the E-11 and C-37 aircraft, as a potential offering.